So I want to introduce Srila Avadhut Maharaj shortly. We all know that he is a traveler, that he is a great preacher, that he is a full dome director, and he has innumerable ways to preach. So today you've got this opportunity to ask him what you want. And as for me, Avadhut Maharaj, one of the most caring persons, in the sense that now he takes care of the project in India, and it was done so to help our temples there. And I thought that it's a great opportunity, and when someone has desire and ability to help our mission there. So please. Oh, yes, Maharaj. And could you please turn your camera horizontally? Because it's going to be on YouTube. And then your face will be better this way. Okay, thanks. So, dear devotees, if any questions, please welcome to ask. I see already we have more than 10 people
Can you guys
here.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Maharaj.
First of all, I want to thank you for being together with us on the weekend, spending an hour time for your spiritual development and inquiry. Second of all, I'd like to say that I'm very happy that Sriyananda gave me an introduction if I would want to introduce myself. So one thing I would like to say, I want to be known as a servant of my spiritual master. My spiritual master, Srila Govinda Maharaj, was Acharya of Chaitanya Saraswat Math, showered incredible mercy on all of us, including myself, and give an opportunity to serve Guru, Krishna, and Vaishnava, especially in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is a great line of Vaishnava Acharyas. Since time immemorial, the spiritual line was present in the material universe, carried by Surya Vamsha, Chandra Vamsha, and other great kings and sages. And finally, in Kali Yuga, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came himself, this teachings of Sri Chaitanya have been represented by great sages, such as Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, etc. Since then, the line of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has been extraordinary presentation of this spiritual perception. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he started some mass preaching. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? So he started broad-wide preaching of Krishna consciousness all over the world, which has been continued by great preceptors like Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, many of the Gaudiya Math sannyasis, and of course, our beloved Srila Govinda Maharaj. So it's over 10 years that Srila Govinda Maharaj left the world, but he left us behind, and we're trying to continue his mission, his perception, serve his deities, his devotees, his temples, his mission, his ideas, etc. So any of you has any spiritual questions in any of the language, you can write down to Priyanana spiritual chat, and we'll try to give short answers. So today we have very short Zoom meeting, 45 minutes. So let's not waste our time. Let's just make our time very productive.
Yes, Maharaj, we have a question from Tulasi Didi from Ukraine. And she says, I want to ask about spiritual mentors. Can you tell me who can be our spiritual mentor and how to build this relationship properly?
Okay. If you have divine vision and blessings, anyone can be a spiritual mentor because life is a spiritual mentor. The circumstances and conditions of life is your spiritual mentor. Your father, mother, the colleagues at work, they're your spiritual mentor. However, when you practice Bhakti Yoga, you might have specific questions about philosophy or practice of Bhakti Yoga. Then you can approach two types of mentors. One type of mentors is senior devotees and gurus, and second type of mentors is scriptures and books. Both of them work very well, including Vaishnava songs. But the most important is that you involve your teachings in your personal life, just hoping that you have spiritual mentor and do nothing, it's not going to do anything for you. According to one doctor, 80% of people do not take prescribed medicine. 20% people take prescribed medicine, but the group of them don't do it properly. So if you don't take the medicine which has been prescribed to you or take it wrong, you're not going to have results. So let's move to the next question.
So I wanted to ask, we know that Govinda Maharaj, he was a spiritual master, but he was a manager as well. So when he had to decide some questions connected with the rent or some other difficult questions, what were his secrets or principles according to which he made such decisions? Because I know that Avadhut Maharaj was frequently near him, so maybe you know.
Okay, good question from Narayan. The question in English is this. Although Srila Govinda Maharaj was a very spiritual person, he still had to deal with problems and solve the problems. And what was his methods to solve the problems? Of course, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he was Guru Maharaj since age 16. But eventually he got married, he had 3 daughters, he had to maintain his family, he had to build his mat, he had to serve his guru. Therefore, he had to deal every day by solving his own problems and people's problems. That's very, very natural in our material life, because material life that's what it is. We're solving other people's problems. That's why we get paid in our job. And we're solving our own people problems, our own family problems, our own life problems, whether it's health, family, business, finances, etc. So if you think a holy man does not have to deal with all these problems in modern age, then maybe some holy man who decides to completely reject, who decide to completely reject the world, maybe staying in some ashram, taking care of some ashram, and not dealing with mundane things. But according to my experience, my personal experience, that's not a super healthy situation. I think everybody has to survive, move, and change. Therefore, resistance of this world is something that's super beneficial for us. It would not be resistance, we would not overcome a problem. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Right now, my health is my number one guru because I have some health issues. So my health issues move me to better diet, better style of life, better thinking, and understanding that every moment I can die, and that will be end of my physical life. So it keep me on spiritual track. If I would not have these health problems, I could probably behave a lot more loose and less disciplined. So right now I'm facing some organizational and business difficulties. So that also give me a way to improve what I do and re-understand how I do things and what is the needs and necessity that I have right now in order to move forward. So every difficulty, every crisis, an opportunity for us to change ourselves and make ourselves better if we probably understand the meaning of it. That's very important to perceive. Otherwise, we just sit in our room and blame everybody else, our mother, father, Putin, the world government, everybody else for our problems. However, we are the problems ourselves. So Guru Maharaj used to say, environment is friendly, change yourself. So once we start changing ourselves, there'll be much better environment around us. That's for sure.
Okay, and we have a message in the chat. It's from Rajabala Didi. Dandavat Pranam Maharaj. We can hear you now, but the quality of the sound on our side is not best quality. But I think it's on your side, Didi, because here we can hear clearly.
Okay. Anyway, I'm wearing AirPods, which is the best solution for the sound translation. I can try without AirPods, but I think I'm going to get noise.
No, it's better. It's better with them. Okay, another question. Oh, I see. Haridasi, did you join? Another question is from me, a short question. Like, what's the basis for good relations between the devotees?
Okay. There are different types of devotees, and they have different types of ego. And normally the best way when devotees unite under one guru, under one goal, under one group, under one organization. Otherwise, there's so many spiritual organizations, there's so many spiritual gurus, but they may not get idea that they get along between themselves, or the disciples get along between themselves, because we live in a world of unity and diversity. And diversity is normally represented by people's self-interest. Even in spiritual life, people still have some self-interest. So if devotees unite under one banner, under one spiritual master, under one organization, they can be very successful cooperating together. An example is ISKCON. After Srila Prabhupada left, ISKCON had many problems, but then they realized, as much as we're different and we want to be on our own, we better join together and work together. And where the ISKCON received the best benefit, in countries like Russia, Ukraine, and India, where people have more collective consciousness, less individual egocentric consciousness. So that is an answer for our movement. So we need to understand how to collaborate with devotees based on love, perception. And I've seen our mission recently, our mission been split apart by certain individuals for their own reason. And I don't want to mention their name. I just want to say these people specifically are trying to put their own personal interest over interest of the mission. When I do things, I always try to think, what is good for the mission? What is good for the guru? Not what is good for me. An example is very simple. Govinda Maharaj made me Acharya of Chaitanya Saraswati Math. And he told me not to put everybody on altar, not to make too many gurus. And I thought, well, Gurudev, how can I not to do that? There are some senior devotees that I respect. I think they're great teachers, but that's what Govinda Maharaj did not give me that instruction. However, I try to share my spiritual power with them, and I try to promote them, because I always believe not in myself and the well-being of organization, the well-being of society. And Govinda Maharaj had very great experience, and he knew that people have personal interests. Therefore, he told me not to do that. However, partially I suffer from that, but partially it was good. So everything is can be used in positive way or negative way, but the clarity is very simple. You need to have very clear leadership and very clear captain and where the direction where we're going. If you have very clear direction, where we're going, how we're moving, what's going to happen, that means the captain is good. If people, the sellers on the ship, don't understand captain inquiry, then it's their problem. So there's two ways: clear instructions and ways to go from teacher, and clear understanding from disciple. Therefore, good disciple will always try to inquire and adjust his own spiritual path according to instructions of his guru. We're trying to represent Krishna consciousness in different languages. So we start one program yesterday. It's called 1 Minute About Bhakti Yoga. So we have hundreds of popular questions about spirituality, and we're trying to give them answer for 1 minute, because people don't have much time right now. It's overload of spiritual things. So I sent few other test videos in my Telegram, and yesterday we recorded over maybe 50 questions or 40 questions. So once we do this in English and Russian, we will translate into different languages, and we will run several Instagram pages. And eventually we want to lead people to our spiritual school, which we're working online school, but it's going to take some time. So thank you, Anantaram, for reminding us about Chinese. We're working with Chinese right now, and we actually start long time ago program in Chinese. I did start a program, and Govinda Maharaj had some disciples in China, And unfortunately, due to COVID and different circumstances, we could not fully, contain our preaching in China, but we will. Any other questions?
Maharaj. Yes, we have a question from Bhakti Yoga from Kiselny. Dandavat Gurudev and all the devotees. Gurudev, could you say where to find happiness?
Okay, that's a very good question, because we're looking for happiness. And there are different types of happiness. One type of happiness coming from pleasure, which is the highest form of sexual pleasure, another form of ownership, third form of intoxication, another form from relationships, friendship, parents, etc. So there are different types of happiness which we can receive in this life. But unfortunately, it's named material happiness, which is not substantial. And according to the way of this world, it mixes with material sorrow and grief. However, in spiritual reality, happiness, sorrow, and greed have deeper level of divine emotions. In other words, when inhabitants of spiritual world feel depressed, it creates more fulfillment and happiness inside of them. Why? Because they're fully Krishna conscious. So if you become fully Krishna conscious, even depression in spiritual world would sound like the most enjoyable thing for you. Believe it or not, this is strange to hear, but everything in spiritual realm has its own flavor, has its own emotions. Let's move next.
Okay, there is another question from Tulasi Didi. If the devotees are behaving questionably and you don't understand whether they are doing good or bad, what should be our reaction? Who should we ask? What should we do? And keep silent or try to find?
So sometimes Srila Govinda Maharaj would say, wait and see. Like sometimes when strange things happen, I understand if I start immediate reaction, it may provoke certain feedback. Like for instance, if I'm as a conspiracy person, well, Starbucks is very dangerous for you. People say, oh, you crazy, you are a conspiracy theorist, you this and that. But sometimes when information will come that is really dangerous, that's a self-evidence. So things will reveal itself at an appropriate time. So now the question is, who should you share? The people that you trust. And even if you're wrong, the people that you trust can love you, direct you, and correct you. But even if you tell good things to people that don't trust you, don't have good intentions towards you, they can make fun out of you. They can create you, as some kind of unsubstantial person. That's what happened to me by certain people that I thought they're my friends. Actually, they didn't. I understand they're not my friends. They're just using me. They're using me for their own so-called need, although they appear to be like a spiritual people. But really, they weren't really my friends, because friend is somebody who has interest in friend in mind, not just exploiting people. So what tells me that I have really few friends that I can trust. And these are people I should really value and love and appreciate. And other people that try to appear as my friends are maybe just external friends, although they're devotees, but they're not really deeply involved in my interests or interests of the mission. So in this case, I don't have to go against them, but I just have to be very clearly understand who is who in my cycle. And that will give me an opportunity to move forward, because Govinda Maharaj, why did he like me out of so many disciples? Because I always try to act in his interests. I always try to ask him, what does please you? Then he understood, okay, this Avadhut may not be perfect person, but he's trying to become a disciple. So this is an important part. We're all not perfect. None of us is perfect. But when we become a perfect disciple, things change in our favor. Because you understand, you need to become a perfect disciple. And through that, eventually you become a perfect person. It's not like, oh, you become a perfect person and then you become a perfect disciple. It doesn't work this way. Next question.
Can we practice without serving, just by chanting the mantra?
Yes, if you are a self-realized soul, you can. If you're high-level devotee, yes, you can. In fact, high-level devotee can be fully satisfied by just chanting. If you are that level, but most people are not on that level. Most people not even on level of disciple. Most people not even on level of practitioner. They just been given mercy, and they have to learn basic things. Like when you go to yoga, they teach you yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyaharana. You cannot even follow yam, niyam. They will not accept you. That's why in yoga tradition, like they wouldn't give initiation to Shudra because you're not qualified in this life. Come next life. That's what they would tell you. But in Bhakti Yoga, everything's based on mercy. Therefore, we're giving Hare Krishna Mahamantra without any conditions. But it does not mean that we should not follow the conditions or get high standard towards our spiritual life. So I would say on high level of spiritual realization, just chanting Mahamantra would be perfect. But on our level, we do need association service and we do need Sankirtan. The practice together under guidance of Guru and Vaishnavas. Next.
So, Bhaktilata from Moscow, she is asking, Gurudev, Ramachandra came to show the ideal example of following dharma. Would you say how is it possible to practice dharma nowadays?
Okay, good question. Thank you. So Ramachandra is Supreme Lord who come and give an example. That is what his position. And he come in Dwapara Yuga, millions of years ago. So until today, he's known and remembered. And let's say in Thailand, every king named Rama, because it represents perfect king. So, so that is, so the time has passed and people are lost three main principles of Dharma. They lost charity, they lost religiosity, they've lost compassion, and they just keep one quality of honesty. So we have to be honest with ourselves that we do not have great qualities like Lord Ramachandra. But if we believe in the words of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to Kali Yuga and brought us some Kirtan movement, then very quickly in one or several lives, we'll become perfect devotees of Mahaprabhu and we can achieve mercy of Mahaprabhu. See, you cannot compare yourself or somebody else with some other people's situation. You have to understand how can you practice in your own situation. Don't think what was thousands of years ago, or millions of years ago, or 5,000 years ago. Think as what is today you can do, and be honest with yourself. This is the most important part because we're mainly in self-delusion. We try to cheat ourselves, and that's our main suffering. So when we start cheating ourselves, we'll start cheating others. It will be very easy for us to chant holy name and practice spiritual life.
Thank you. Okay, so another question is Dandavat Gurudev and all the devotees. It's from Vaninat from Ukraine. How to inspire people for spiritual development? How what
Okay.
can be the first steps of a man
Okay.
on the spiritual path? He could gradually cleanse his consciousness.
Yes, when you see advertising of any product, you normally see some person enjoying this product. And that's the best motivation for sale, because you always be inspired with those who has some inspiration, people who have some happiness or feel result. And that's how you inspire yourself and others. If you just yourself not inspired person, then you should look for someone who is inspired person. And in his association, you can practice your spiritual life. Otherwise, your inspiration will be fake and it will not produce proper result. You can't fake it. You have to be real. Next.
Oh, Bhaktivata again, she sent.
During your podcasts, you shared that now Krishna takes some association from you with the people with whom you used to associate before, and he takes some opportunities from you. Could you please tell what helped you and what is helping you now to accept this stage in your life that you're going through?
So I believe that Krishna narrow my opportunities to be more focused on most important things. And I believe that people who are living my life right now, living for a reason, because you can go with certain people only up to a certain point, and then you have to continue your journey. So in your journey, you'll have some eternal associates, and in journey, you'll have some temporary people. So, and that's because Krishna has planned for everybody. So you may not supposed to be with everybody forever, but on certain stage of your life, you are with these people. Like for instance, in school, you would think, oh, I'm forever going to be a friend with my school friends. And then you realize after you're over the school, you don't even contact them anymore. So it's just the stages of life that you have to go. But most important, if you keep Guru and Krishna in your heart, and if you will be qualified according to your qualification, Krishna will send you devotees for association. Next.
Dandavat Maharaj. My pranams. My question is, could you please, if possible, advise us on how to discover one's svabhava, and what is the best way for a devotee to discover this svabhava?
I can barely hear you. You talk about svabhava?
Yes.
What do you mean by word svabhava? Explain me in English.
It's one's eternal nature. For example, svabhava of the water is to flow. It's something which we were our purpose in life, so to speak, in simple terms.
Yeah, but you have to understand, svabhava has, as a Sanskrit root, many meanings. Swa means swaya, mind. Bhava means mood. So in deep stage, you can say, what is my mood in relationship with Krishna? In other words, my rasa, that means my internal relationship with Krishna of my soul. At this stage, we don't go that deep yet because we don't realize ourselves as a complete pure soul. That is the deeper stage of spiritual development, which not come in the beginning, come on the end of spiritual life. So remember, we're dealing mainly with beginners. And the biggest mistake when beginners, just give you an example. Everybody who wants to make movies, including myself, number one, meditating on camera. But after buying a good camera, they realize the camera is not the answer. The answer is a storytelling, a script writing, a directing, and framework. So svabhava, it's like a camera. It's something you should focus. It will come to you naturally by proper time. So develop yourself on general Krishna consciousness. And by doing that, you will come to this stage for sure. This life or a million other lives, but it's going to happen. But if you don't develop your basic perception, your basic spiritual practice, your basic service, you're not going to move anywhere. That's why if you want to become a great movie maker, you go to school and then you work with somebody who has experience, and gradually your skills will allow you to do things on your own. Next.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Can I ask one more question, please? So we often hear, when I hear the lectures of our Vaishnava Acharyas, we often hear that we shouldn't strive to achieve liberation because this is the goal of Mayavadis and Advaita Vedanta people. But then, like last week, I was listening to one Harikatha of one Babaji from Vrindavan, and he said such a phrase that in Bhagavatam, Prayojana is Kaivalya. So Kaivalya is also liberation, and I have confusion in my mind because I cannot harmonize these two teachings. So we shouldn't strive for liberation as devotees, but the prayojana of Bhagavatam itself, which is our book on which we base our entire practice, and prayojana of Bhagavatam is Kaivalya. How to harmonize it?
Okay. First of all, remember, you're not qualified to hear all parts of Bhagavatam, number one. Definitely, you're not qualified to hear them from Vrindavan Babajis because they may not represent our line. There might be Sahaja or Mayavad Babaji. And number three is like, what is your level to really, are you really expert in that part of Bhagavat? What is your level of practice? Let's say if I want to go to fighting school, they'll make me fight with shadow for the next 5 years before I fight with somebody real. And if I'm not properly trained, I'm going to lose that fight. So just like I explained, first of all, you got to train proper. Then you can understand these things. Your questions tells me that you want to jump overhead and you're jumping to somebody you don't even know. You don't even know who is this person. Should you trust him or not? So remember, when you baby, your mother tell you, and father tell you, don't walk with any man who just will ask you to, oh, come with me, I give you candy, because you'll be in trouble. So my suggestion to you, I don't know who disciple you are, but hear from proper bona fide source, not some Babaji from Vrindavan you don't even know what they're talking about. Of course, you will not be able to harmonize anything because you're not qualified. I don't think you even understand word Kaivalya properly, because these are all terminology that may have many, many meanings. And I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm just trying to say once Madhvacharya came to Brahmanas that chant Vishnu Sahasranam, the South Indian Paka Brahmanas from Vedic civilization, and he told me that every 1,000 name of Vishnu has another 100 meanings, and they would not believe it to him. So he took first name of Vishnu and explained 100 hidden meanings, and they were shocked. Just think of this: in thousands of names of Vishnu, each Vishnu has at least 100 hidden meanings of his name. And Madhvacharya was so qualified, he could explain this to other qualified Pandit Brahmanas and even mesmerize them. So when all these Babajis, God bless their soul, speak about things, my question is, who do they talk? Are they speak to a bunch of neophytes and trying to screw their brain to attract followers, money, and position? Or they speak with themselves, with other Pandits who are highly qualified, and then they can give pramana and commentaries on these things. So I highly recommend you start from ABC of Krishna consciousness and stick on ABC level, and that will take you much deeper than Babaji's from Vrindavan. Next.
Okay, so Narayani tells us it's time to finish for today. Maharaj, thank you. Let's put into practice what we heard today. And please follow our meetings in Telegram. You can see the links in the chat, and YouTube, Mahamandala. Ryan will post some links in the chat now. That's it for today.
Okay, let me just finish this.
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank you for all the questions. There's no good or bad questions. There are different levels of questions. There are different levels of inquiry. There's different levels of research. Don't hesitate. Even the last question was good because it makes a lot of clarity for you and other people what you should follow, what you should not follow, what is your level, what is not your level. Remember, we're trying to come to reality, not to some kind of an imaginary philosophy. And remember, you can be confused with anything. To be confused means to not be certain in your faith and understanding. And that's our normal position. So sometimes Govinda Maharaj would be confused by certain philosophical statements, and he would have to think very deep and meditate or ask his guru, what do you think about that? But that has to be done in a proper mood, in a proper way, in a proper lineage. And even to inquire, it's art. So I want to thank you very, very much for all the questions you asked me today. I will continue, every week doing English. I will end up with English channel for short questions. I highly appreciate Russian, Ukrainian devotees that watching me in English. It's an opportunity for all of us to speak in English. It's an international language. It's very important for us to learn English, to express ourselves in English, especially in a very modern world, which is beyond just our boundaries of our countries and cultures. So my Dandavat Pranam to all of you. I wish you all to practice Krishna consciousness. I wish you all to progress in spiritual path. Don't be offended by things I've said. I'm your friend and give you very good friendly advice. It may not sound pleasant all the time, just like the doctor is not giving always the sweet medicine. Sometimes he's giving bitter medicine, but even the bitter medicine has great power. So stay in Krishna consciousness, study the books of Acharyas, of Guru Maharaj, Govinda Maharaj, Srila Maharaj, and that will lead you to deeper understanding. And at certain point, you'll be a very qualified devotee who are able to go to deep level of philosophy, Siddhanta, and receive the topmost understanding. Just keep your kirtan, keep your service, keep association of devotees, and you'll be fine. My Dandavat Pranam to all of you. Jai Srila Gurudev, Guru Maharaj. Love you all. Stay in touch. Dandavat Pranam.
Jai Srila Bhakti Avadhut Maharaj ki jai. All the devotees ki jai. Thank you. See you next time. Dandavat.